YouTube channel SS Analysis. Well, as we witnessed on the closing bell, Wall Street tumbled and the US major indexes posted biggest weekly losses since March. Let us analyze the current position of S&P 500 futures to see what scenario we are going to see during the upcoming weeks. Because it looks horrible when we find Wall Street's main indexes fell more than 2% on Friday in a broad sell-off led by declines in big internet and technology shares and posted their largest weekly percentage drops since March as concerns over US-China trade tensions and interest rate convulsed Wall Street. The S&P 500 futures erased virtually all of its gain from a week earlier when the benchmark indexes notched its highest weekly rise in 7 days. Following a weekend truce between Washington and Beijing in talks in Argentina, stocks have been volatile all weeks as investors comb through the news looking for signs of whether a trade tension found to be escalated over the stock market would dissipate. Concern over the US-China trade tension were fanned by White House trade advisor Peter Navarro. Along with the trade, Wall Street has been focused on the bond yields and the direction of the interest rate policy from the Federal Reserve, with some investors expecting a slower pace of hikes than previously anticipated. Let me explain the movement of US S&P 500 futures in the same chart pattern which I've already discussed in my last few analyses while analyzing the movements of previous two market crashes. Friends, this chart pattern in monthly chart frame was constructed by me in August 2018 for mapping the expected resistance and support levels of the S&P 500 futures, and I find this well too accurate to describe the possible directional move of the S&P 500 futures. So now let me explain about the movements of S&P 500 futures in this monthly chart. Here you can see that since January 1st, S&P 500 futures tumbled down up to the level of 2626 from where they found a some buying support, and since 5th January 2018 they started to move upward and found stiff resistance at the level of 3057 from where they started to move downward with a steep downward move in a in a monthly chart. As here you can see that they found their next support at 2718 on October 1st, 2018, and in November we found a little upward move from the lowest level of 2653 to 2755, but during the last week we have seen a sharp downward move till the level of 2607, and I found that currently the S&P 500 futures are just closed, have just closed at the edge of the support level, which I think that they have already broken, and I find that S&P 500 futures may see a gap down opening on the first trading session of the upcoming week. If the S&P futures continue to move downward, I find that they will find their next support at the level of 2454. But once they cross this support level, no doubt that we will find a sharp, steep downward move up to the level of 1576. Friend, this will be the beginning of the mark crash of 2018. Once they broke down below 2588, S&P 500 futures will move with a steep downward move, which will test the 200 days moving average at 1576, and I find that the major economic events during the next week will be very decisive. Brexit vote will play an important role in deciding the directional move of US indexes. So friends, be ready for a volatile week. Now let me explain the movement of S&P 500 futures in a weekly chart, which I constructed in the month of November. Here you can see that I constructed a market crush zone, and after sustaining a little bit above this market crush zone, S&P 500 futures have once again entered back into the crush zone, and I find that a move below 2536 will be the beginning of next market crash, which will bring the S&P 500 futures to up to the level of 2 up to the level of 2023. As you can see that a big red candle in a weekly chart is a possible sign of the beginning of upcoming market crash very soon. And I find that in a weekly chart, once we break the 200 days moving average, we will see a sharp downward move of S&P 500 futures during the upcoming days. Let us see the movement of S&P 500 futures in a hourly chart, where you can see that after moving downward up to the level of 2628, we have tried to close a little bit above the lowest point, but here you can see that formation of an exhaustive candle is evident enough for the continuation of downward move during the upcoming days. Here you can see that already that the S&P 500 futures have already trading below the 200 days moving average in an hourly chart, and all the moving averages have turned downward, which indicates the continuation of downward trend in the S&P 500 futures. Thank you friends. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, don't forget to share this video with your more and more friends. And for my regular updates on S&P 500 futures and other commodities, subscribe my YouTube channel SS Analysis. Thank you.